Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds, number 57. So this is where I like to collect together all the different music that I've purchased over the past week and present it to you. And I get it from different places like my local record stores sometimes, but mostly online retail from Amazon, eBay, and more. Unfortunately, that is just sort of the nature of things these days. A lot of purchases online to get what we want. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. For this past week, I have 8 new music finds to go through with you, 6 new releases, 1 Japanese reissue, and 1 catalog album, and I'll break all that down in just a bit. But before we do, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with New Music Finds, episode number 57. All right, and so as always, we kick off with brand new releases, 6 new releases, so really excited about that. And this first one up is the one I'm kind of talking about, where I was saying, I have to go online because didn't have it at my local record store. Amazon was, back ordered on it, saying it actually couldn't get it. I ended up canceling the order with them and ordering from a place called Bull Moose, and so I finally got, a week after it came out, Midnight Oil Resist, because this came out on March 11th, and this past Friday is actually March 18th. That's the date for the other 5 releases that we're going to talk about in a minute. But this one, 13th studio album, reunion album in fact, but could actually be their last album. They're on a farewell tour, so they say they intend to still record, but they are on a farewell tour. So could always be the last album. We don't know, hopefully not. So what I was talking about with this is, it was released digitally on February 18th, then on CD and vinyl March 11th, but I couldn't get it from anywhere, and I actually had to order it from a different place in the end, and I finally got it just this past week. And so now the thing is, it's been 20 years since their last album, Cornucopia, and then with this one, Resist, finally coming out. So big anticipation for it. Cool thing, the 12 songs that are on here were actually recorded at the same time as the Makarata Project, an EP that came out in 2020. And so Bones Hillman, the bassist, unfortunately he passed away in 2020, recorded all of that. So this bass player, their bass player has been with them for a long time, since the 80s and onward, still on this new album here. Very cool. And in and of itself, the album, it's quieter and reflective. It's sometimes within the album. Still there's moments of what you would expect, the indignation, the rage, the sort of power and everything that has come from the lyrics and that sort of energy. And the album itself builds with different feelings, emotions, and of course the sounds that we would expect from a classic Midnight Oil album. So this one here, I do highly recommend. If you're a fan or were a fan of Midnight Oil 20 years back, definitely check this out. There are some great key moments on it, and I, for one, am glad that they've gotten back together, made a new album, and I hope they still make new music going forward. Now, sticking with the Australian rockers theme, I got this one, and we're starting with the now March 18th release date stuff. Colin Hay Now and the Evermore. 15th studio album from him, or solo album I should really say. Of course, he's former Men at Work vocalist and frontman, so that's where we get the tie-in here for the Australian thing. This album here is really interesting. Let me open it up and just show you, because there's Colin Hay there. And there's our backside of it. But this one here has a very orchestrated sound to it, and it's got a lot of atmosphere and depth. I also hear elements of classical music and jazz. There's brass band instruments that are on here. There's also orchestral instruments, I guess if you call them that, violins and things, cellos and all of that sort of stuff. But it's not a classical or a jazz album or anything like that. It is typical Colin Hay, Men at Work style stuff that he's been doing for the last, 30 plus years, give or take, since he went solo. I think he went solo about 85, give or take, so even longer. And, he's been out on the road, and I think he's going to be back part of the band for Ringo Starr's All-Star Band, which is cool. I had tickets for that. It got postponed, of course, due to COVID for 2.5 years. Those tickets are now still active for this June, so hopefully I will be going and seeing Ringo Starr with Colin Hay. And Ringo Starr actually appears on the first track on the album, which is a good track, but it's actually my least favorite. The rest of the album is even better than that lead opening track. So do check it out. Go past that first track if you want to hear some really great stuff from Colin Hay. All right, next one up, Keith Richards' Main Offender 30th Anniversary Edition from the 1992 album. Just open it up here real quick for you. It's kind of cool on the inside. That's actually on the book. That's not a page inside it. So they start right in with some good stuff in here. And if you've gotten his past deluxe editions like this, then it follows right along with it. But very cool. I like the matte page with the glossy photo portion of it. And then we've got the 2 discs that are in the back of the thing here. Of course, the album information and that sort on it. So disc 1 being the album itself remastered. It's got great sound on it. But disc 2 is an unreleased live show from 1992 in London. So you do get that with it. Unfortunately, no bonus studio tracks. That's always the key thing for me. I want the demos. I want the outtakes. Not with this, though. I guess he only recorded what he had. We get a live show instead for that. All right, next one up, Sonic Youth, In, Out, In. Very cool one here. There you go, track listing is along this part of it here. It's only got 5 tracks on it. It is a collection of unreleased rarities, and the bulk of it is instrumental. There's a little bit of vocal stuff on it, but it's not actually lyrical, I should say. It's just a vocalization on some of it, so I still sort of consider that as an instrument and being instrumental on this. And they span from 2000 to 2010, the recording of those 5 tracks. Tracks 1, 2, 3, and 5, skipping over 4. Excellent instrumentals. But track 4 on here, which is called Social Static, and what a title, because it is sounding like static and noise, and it's a little bit of a bummer that it's at track 4. I had to put that at track 5 at the end of this thing to kind of play you out on it. It is atmospheric, and Sonic Youth does do those sort of things, so this isn't like a big surprise to me, but I like these instrumentals a lot on here. They could have turned into some really amazing Sonic Youth songs, so they're very cool to hear. And the 5th track is the best track on it, so I have to skip over 4 because it's 11 minutes and 40 seconds worth of noise and static and feedback and things of that nature. But you know that going into it. If you are a Sonic Youth fan, you probably will enjoy this release here. Okay, next one up here, Chips Enough solo album. It's got 10 tracks on it. The opening track, The Church, is actually an interpretive sort of classical piece. He says he wrote it on here, maybe because he interpreted it for the instruments or whatever, did the arrangement on it, but it is a classical piece. Don't know the name of it offhand. And the 10th track on here, Honolulu Boogie, is an Ian Hunter song, so that's not written by him. So we got 8 tracks on here that he wrote or co-wrote, and one of them is with Donnie V, Heaven in a Bottle. There's a video out for that right now. It was the lead single for it. So it's a cool co-write. It is the best song that's on the album, probably because of what you would expect, Donnie V being part of it. But now the rest of the songs on here are good songs, and Chip is a competent singer on these things. The thing is, I always listen to the material that he does now because he's fronting Enough's Enough. He's doing these solo albums, and I always sort of think the what if Donnie was still there singing it. And I find myself going through that a lot when listening to it. So I'm having a bit of trouble getting past the fact that Donnie's not there. I really think you should bring in a singer to do that and then harmonize with him and sing it that way. But the songs are great songs. They just need a bit more in the vocal range that he can't quite provide. But it is nice being that he's the artist, he's singing it, he's not having somebody else come in and do it. So I respect that and appreciate that he is the one going out and doing it and taking charge of it and so forth. So I certainly will stand by him, but I do hope one day that Donnie and Chip get back together and start making some great music, because I think those two guys really didn't get the justice that they deserve for the great music that they created back in the day. All right, so this is another one here. Tool, Opiate 2. This is the hardback book, Blu-ray edition. So unfortunately, no CD as part of this. I'm not really sure why they chose to only release the song digitally. It is a reworking of the original song Opiate title track from their very first EP in 1992, so celebrating the 30th anniversary of it. The Blu-ray that's in here does have some bonus features on it, some insights by special guests, and it's got some behind the scenes footage and whatnot. So you get the video itself, which is around 10 minutes, and then you get 10 to 13 minutes worth of this other stuff. So a total of 23 minutes on here. I made this comment in another video, somebody didn't like it, but I said it's basically $1 a minute because this was $24. So somebody else asked, you know, is it worth it? And as a collector, and you see I've got the other Fear Inoculum by Tool back there. So I want the limited edition version of this thing, and it's got a lot of cool photos from the video itself, and it's got some other graphics and things within it, and if I can find some of it, it's got some behind the scenes shots in here along with the other stuff, and then in the back it's got some stuff from band members, if I can just find that. There you go. Unfortunately, no writing, anything like that, but it does have some cool stuff in it. So if you really want the video, and I don't know that they're going to release a full thing online, maybe eventually, but right now there's like a 3-minute sort of trailer, if you will, or snippet or whatever. But this is the way to see it. It's their first video, I think they said, in 15 years. So it is kind of a big deal. I wanted it in the collection. I didn't feel that $24 was that big of a deal for it, so I went ahead and bought it. All right, now I did get something in the mail, so I thought I would open it with you. I know what it is, but I mean, still, it's kind of fun always seeing somebody rip into something and pull it out. I certainly get excited about it. Sammy Hagar. So this is a live 1980 album, and it's a Japanese reissue. It comes from Universal Japan. If you've been following my channel, you know I've talked about this. This label has for Universal, or in Japan, you know, that version, or leg of the channel, I guess, if you want to, or channel, label, if you want to call it that, you know, they are reissuing a ton of 80s artists, glam metal, new wave stuff, rock, classic rock type stuff, all stuff from the 80s, tons and tons of it. The Sammy Hagar, Pat Benatar, then you get into the glam rock stuff, and you get Europe, and you get Scorpions, and you get you know, McQueen Street and Tora Tora, and all these other bands. Can't even think of them offhand, but there's a ton of them. And they're doing a really good job with it. So this one here is an album that's been out of print for a very long time. Obviously I haven't opened it yet, but sound quality on these things are good. Order them straight off of Amazon, so I'm not importing them from Japan. Amazon's already done it. So you can go on Amazon, type in Universal Japan, and you can find a listing of all of these. Type in Universal Japan CD, and then you'll just get a ton of this stuff that'll come up. And a bunch of it's already been released. There's a bunch more coming out April 1st. And following this video on Tuesday, or actually it'll be, sorry, Thursday, you will get the album release schedule for April. And then in that, I will do a whole thing on the Universal Japan releases for April 1st. So check that out on Thursday. Okay, one last one here to go through, and then we'll wrap things up. This is what I call the catalog album. Ghost, Ceremony and Devotion, the live album from 2017, double album. This one here, though, 2 new tracks on it. So really cool. Elizabeth and Secular Haze. Now, I'd been listening to this digitally. Those 2 tracks are not part of the digital release. They're only on the CD. So if you're like me and we're only listening to it digitally, and you get the CD, you actually get 2 new tracks. They're performed live, but they are part of the show. And so there you go. That's what I've been listening to, and that's what new music, at least, that I've gotten 8 new music finds as part of episode 57 here. And I have done a full review of that Midnight Oil. So I'll leave a link in the description for it, and certainly I've also done a review for the brand new Ghost Impera, which is a fantastic album. I'm going to leave a link also in the description for that. You want to check out both of those, but there you go. That is my loot for the past week. I'm certainly been enjoying it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Also, consider sharing it out on social media. Help spread the word that way. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great one. Buy some new music, enjoy it, and have a great one. Bye-bye.